Welcome back to Basin Motorsports for another week at the garage. So it was -4 last night, and I'm just finishing up my morning chores. It's a balmy 26. So I bundled up so much, I feel like that little brother off of A Christmas Story. You know, where he's got his arms all the way out, and he's like, hey, wait up, guys. Yeah, I've got thermals, pants, and then my thermal bibs on, plus my jacket and that, and a hat. I tell you what, feels good out here for 26, but -4 was not so exciting before dawn. So this week I've been kind of tinkering on the 86. Got the heater core done on it, seals and all that. So let's jump in the garage. I'll kind of show you what I've been working on. Got the dash back in for the heater core. And I'll tell you, I didn't plan on doing a heater core video because there's just a lot out there. Late Model Restoration's got some. They got one for it. And really, it's not that complicated. To do a full-length video, what I'll do is I'll just quickly highlight what needs to come out so that if you need to be able to do this on your 4i Mustang, it'll be pretty easy. I'll just kind of show you the real quick steps. It's probably going to take me maybe 4 minutes to explain. And then the whole job is probably somewhere in the 4 to 5 hour range. And that's going to be even less if you don't have a center console that needs to come out of the way. So here's what needs to be taken off in order to get to the heater core. To take off your gauge bezel and your dash pad. So you know the gauges fit right under here on the left hand side. There are 3 screws underneath that you take off to take off the gauge bezel, which is sitting right back there. So you can see these tabs up here. There are 3 screws there, and then these tabs slide down in. So take the 3 screws out, pop this up and off, and out of the way. Next will be your dash pad. Again, the 3 screws will be off there. So you got another one over here. You've got a couple up here above the glove box. And then you can look down in your defroster. You see that there's 2 holes, kind of like a outboard inboard on both of those that need to come off. So that will take your dash pad off. This piece here will then come off. So next I would say drop your steering column, which is going to be 6 bolts total. So you've got 2. So if this is your hood piece, you can basically just drop this out of the way. You've got 2 bolts there that are holding on this bracket for your hood release cable. Drop that down, and then you've got 2 more behind that, and then you've got 2 down under there, kind of right up in there. So those 6 will then drop your column down. You can just set it back, just lay it right here on your seat, and it's out of the way. On the dash itself, underneath, you're going to have 1 screw up here that goes outboard, so you can take this off. It's a 7/16. You've got another one right here, and then on the far side, down over there, on the kick panel there, you've got one that goes into the A-pillar metal itself. Now obviously if you've got a floor shifter, you're going to take that out. So there's some screws down around the bottom down here next to the e-brake handle, and then up around this. So all this has to come out. Just pop your cover off. You've got some screws around it. You've got some screws up under this bottom piece, and then down around here. All that has to come up and off. And then you can take your controls off here. Now the reason you take these off, these hand controls, is that it's got pieces to the back that go to your heater box. So all that needs to come off. Now it's only 4 screws holding it in, but you'll need to disconnect your cables and all your controls and that to get that out of the way. And then lastly, on the top, you can see these screws up here. There are 5 of those. 5, I think there's 5. But those need to come out, and those are a 7mm, if I remember right, a 7mm wrench to get those off, or a socket, either way. So once that's out, you can then kind of set the dash kind of rearward, put your shifter down into the first gear, get it out of the way. This all can just then basically come set down right in front of the seat, and you can get over to the heater box on the passenger side. So at that point, you need to take off everything connected to the heater core itself and the heater box. So you've got an in and an out here, which are these 2 hoses. You got 2 clamps, loosen those, slide them back, get these hoses off. This is what goes in and out of your heater core. And then this is your AC stuff. So now you've got lines going in and out. So put a wrench on the backside here, and those are stationary. Now these here, this nut, and on the bottom piece, these are what spins. So once you have a nut holding the backside, you can spin these off and take them off. Now just remember, keep these AC pieces keep them, I guess don't loosen them when it's just been run. That way it's not compressed and it'll relax and bleed off that pressure. Now you can see on that stud there on the bottom left, you've got 2 of those, and that's holding on to the back of your HVAC box. So that stud right there on your bottom left, that's got a large washer holding it to the firewall. So take the small nut off, which I believe is a 1/2 inch or a 7/16. You've got another one down over there. You can see it there kind of in the bottom right. Take the nuts off, pull off the, I want to say this is the evaporator maybe, this cylinder, this black cylinder here. And then you can take off the large washers there. That will let loose your heater box from the firewall, and then you can take it loose. Now once you have the dash out of the way, the heater box is loose. You can make sure everything on the front side is loose. There's a couple bolts holding it to the firewall. Pull it out backwards. It'll be loose. You can then take the 4 screws off the top, take the top cover off, get the heater core out, replace it, put it back in. It's got a new seal, and then it's basically just a reverse of that. You know, the cover goes on, heater box goes back up in, put the washers on that hold it to the firewall, put all your AC connections and your heater core connections, your rubber hoses back on, tighten that back up, and then you can put your dash back in. Not very hard to do, pretty simple. Just take your time with it, and when you do that, it will go. Like I said, it's not hard. It's just pretty in-depth enough, step by step. It's probably like 4 or 5 hours to get it all the way done. So just take your time with it. I've tinkered with it multiple times over the last 3 weeks, just kind of messing with it, and finally finished it up. So now with that done, I need to put the controls back in, and then I will get this thing fired up. So I got to put a little bit more water in because it's got a leak at the engine. So I'm going to throw some distilled water in, and then I need to put some gas in here because I just replaced the tank. Dropped it down, replaced the filter, checked the sender and pump, and it just needs some gas, and this thing should, knock on wood, fire up and be able to run very well. Okay, so you can hear the battery is on. I don't know if it's got enough charge, but I put about 3 gallons of gas in here with some stabilizer, so we should be good to go there. I've got some water in there, so should be good enough to start up, and we'll see here in park. Let's see if this baby will start. Ooh, fuel pump primed. Battery's dead. Okay, so I throw it on the battery charger a little bit, give it a couple of sprays of starting fluid, get it just a little kick, see what happens. Start. Now we'll see if it will keep running. Everything sounds pretty good though. About 1500 RPM, and it died. This baby cold, but no leaks in the fuel tank, which is fantastic. Nothing from the filter. Nothing going on there. Alright, looking down to the heater core. Nothing. No issues. Fantastic. Let's let that warm up a little bit. Most likely what I've got in here is I've got an air bubble in there somewhere in the system. It's not letting coolant get down into the heater core, which means it's trapping it there. So I need to basically get the front end up, get the system opened up, and let the air bleed out of it. So that's what we'll do next. Alright, so I let the gray lady charge for a couple hours. Had some lunch, finished up the workday in that, and I kind of made a decision. So I was going to spend some time getting this thing all bled out and get the coolant system ready to go. And I thought, I have a leak at the water pump anyway, so I'm going to, why would I spend so much time getting the coolant system basically going when I know it has a leak and I've got to take it back apart anyway. Didn't make a lot of sense to spend any more time bleeding the system when I'm going to open it right back up and introduce air back in there as soon as I go to basically fix that leak. So for now I'm going to leave it alone. I know it's got an air pocket in there. I will get back to bleeding it later on, and somebody had suggested getting a vacuum bleeder for it, so I may look into that. So for now, the Gray Lady's in great shape. It does run. There are no leaks from the fuel system. There are no leaks from the heater core. I can't see the cooling system since obviously it's got a little drip at the water pump, but that is just a gasket, and that'll something I will fix later on. So I think that's going to be it on this round fixing the Gray Lady. It's in good shape. I think it's at this point I'm going to probably work a little bit more on the interior, work on the carpet, get that changed out. As you saw, kind of if you looked up behind me on some of that stuff where I was sitting inside, you can see the headliner starting to droop. It's haggard. It's tired. It's a 1986, so that'll be one thing I need to do, get that done, and probably go work on the wide body later this afternoon, get another episode of it going. So that's probably it. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Now remember, this 86, when I'm done with it, will be sold. So if you've got an itch to have it, give me a shout. I'll let you know exactly what I'll plan to do to it. And, if you got to have it right now, well, we can talk about that too. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks for subscribing, for watching. Again, for Basin Motorsports, the Gray Lady is in good shape. And we're going back to the wide body. We'll see you next time.